I was watching a clip the other day, and I saw David Icke talking about the true nature of our calendar, which is 13 full lunar moons, or a 13 lunar month calendar. And in regards to full moons, a 13-month calendar of 360 days. And that aligns with the dates of the months themselves, the first month of the year being April. As in December, this is 10. November is 9. Oct is 8. Sept is 7. So that gives you an idea of the nature of the months are out of whack, so to speak. They're out of alignment with the true nature of the precession of the Earth in the solar system, but also they're out of alignment in regards to the nature of the lunar calendar. And then I remembered hearing something from David Icke and talking about the nature of the hack. I remember hearing about this many years ago, almost 20 years ago. He spoke of the idea of the simulation theory, that we're living in a simulation, or experiencing a simulation by being immersed in it, in avatars, which are a lens for us to experience this reality, this hack, this simulation within infinity. And I was talking to my friend Luke, who said that, and I totally feel the same way as he does, intelligent design, a prime creator, a creative force, actually created the multiverse. Because it wants to experience itself. Wants to experience itself. And then I heard the other day, this is all synchronistically happening to me within the space of about a week. I heard Gigi Young talk about, in regards to the mystery school work, that what we are living within is a being, and the experience, the actual being is so gigantic in regards to how big it is. And I guess the truths kind of come through comics and through entertainment, the idea of the elementals in the Marvel comics, the Eternals, I should say, in the Marvel comics, and these planet-eating beings in this comic, in this movie called The Eternals, and the comic The Eternals, the Galactuses of the Marvel comics, but go further than that. These elemental beings that devour planets, and eat planets. And I listened to what she was saying, and she said the mystery schools felt as though and believe that the universe is a being, and the organs of the being, we live within the being itself. Our existence is within this being, whether it be prime creator, and there are beings, not just one, it's a multiverse of beings, and we live inside this being. And all the organs, all the blood, everything within this being is the universe we live in, right? And the levels of existence within that being, which is to me truly far out. But in the same moment, I don't disbelieve it or believe it. I just simply perceive it as going like, wow, it's pretty far out. But what I understand in the nature coming back into from the macro into the micro, what I'm looking at here in my perception and what I want to talk about in this video is true sidereal astrology. True sidereal astrology compared to mainstream astrology. I'm not going to go into what makes them different, because that's not where I want to go with this video. I want to talk about the nature of what I learnt in those synchronistic moments in that week, what I now feel and understand in my perception in regards to what's happening here. I perceive, along with David Icke, that we are not necessarily living in a simulation in my perception in regards to the idea of a computer simulation, but it's a hack. It's a bubble within the infinity. It's like you've got, let me put it this way, in the best way I possibly can, make it in a reference that you might understand. It's a package within the organism. It's like, I wouldn't call it a tumor, but our reality, our bubble of existence is truly that. It's a bubble that contains a hack within infinity. And that hack is controlled by, in my perception now, especially now, controlled by a form of artificial intelligence which creates a feedback loop, which harvests consciousness back into the feedback loop to maintain this bubble, and people consider it that when you leave the body and you go through the astral net, which catches people like a bug zapper, catches consciousness, I should say, it's like a bug zapper, zaps it, and then clears the awareness of that consciousness, and then sends it back into incarnating and back into the simulation, the hack within eternity, which is a bubble with a protected wall, like a firmament around it. In my perception now, that contains all the souls that continue to reincarnate back into the hack, because they get trapped in the astral net, get zapped, and then get sent back into bodies per se, in this avatars, in this hack, and continue to reincarnate back into the hack, rather than moving out of the astral net. And there's a technique and a power, and there's a way to remove yourself and move through the astral net and get back to prime creator, back to source energy, and then reincarnate from there. In my perception, the mystery schools have a very different perception of this than mine. I'm not going to talk about that either. I'm talking about my own perceptions in regards to this situation we find ourselves in this density, this frequency band. So for me, my friend Luke said, the intelligent design created everything. So therefore, for him, there is no simulation. It's the idea of a computer simulation in a video game we're living in is ridiculous. I totally get that. It makes sense. If you are inverting truth, then that would be an ideal way for you to invert the truth of what you're really experiencing. Invert it in a way that makes you feel powerless, in a way that makes you feel like you have no responsibility within this game, because it doesn't matter what you do, you are going to reincarnate back into the game again. So it doesn't matter. You can be as evil as you choose to be as irresponsible as you choose to be, and then therefore all that's going to happen to you is you're going to reincarnate back into the game again at some point after you leave your body. But for me, I feel, along with David Icke as well, that attuning to your heart vortex brings you into and also understanding and truly perceiving that you are all that is, ever has been, and ever will be outside the hack. You're part of that infinity. And knowing that, embodying that, and also attuning that with your heart vortex, that takes your awareness out of the hack. And therefore you are in the game but not of it, so to speak. For me, that's the way I perceive it. You're in the game but not of it. So therefore, I look at things like mainstream astrology, and even to a degree, true sidereal astrology, apart from the fact that actually true sidereal astrology actually affirms the 13th sign, which is a fucus, the serpent holder. Serpent holder? How interesting is that? It's a rabbit hole for another day, by the way. But it affirms to a fucus, the serpent holder, the 13th sign in the zodiac. 13 months, 13 full moons, 13 signs in the zodiac, which takes us back into, and my question is here, it takes us back into what I perceive could be still a hack, part of the hack. Outside in infinity, outside of the hack itself, outside of the simulation, outside of the game, the video game that we are experiencing in this frequency band, if we are not attuned to our heart vortexes, and even then, by attuning to your heart vortex, are you still able to bring in the energy from infinity into this dimension, into this frequency band, and therefore break open the pixelations, break open the program, and be a systems buster, as Barbara Marciniak and the Pleiadians call it, a systems buster by bringing in that energy from infinity into the hack, and then before breaking it apart. And is that what's happening now as we're entering into this time of moving in through the Kali Yuga cycle, into the Dvapara cycle? I hope I got that right this time. And moving through that energy and moving out back into infinity as this hack begins to fall apart by bringing that energy in. Those of us who are choosing to do this and being in our heart vortexes, putting our awareness there and connecting to all that is beyond the hack? Are we bringing in the energy that breaks open the hack and brings it down? And that is that the reason why there's a mass awakening happening in this time, in this moment in our history? On some level, it's a small awakening, and it will get bigger and bigger and bigger, and the parasite class know that, and the beings that move through the parasite class from lower astral levels know that. And my question also is the hack from the lower fourth dimension? And is that lower fourth dimensional hack that surrounds this planet, and maybe some part of the solar system, in my perception, goes as far as Saturn, and a concentric circle around in that area. And Saturn, as I'm with David Icke on this one, and maybe even Norman Bergram, to an extent, that Saturn is the brown dwarf, the former brown dwarf Saturn is the frequency station that beams the hack, that surrounds and creates the bubble within infinity. But if we go beyond that in regards to our heart vortexes, tuning our dials to that energy, are we bringing the energy in? So my question in regards to true sidereal astrology and mainstream astrology is, if you don't adhere to the 13 full moons within the lunar year, calendar year, and you don't affirm to April being the first month of the year, the actual real new year begins in April, because there's 13 full moons in the year. And therefore, like the Chinese calendar, you've got a lunar calendar of 13 full moons. I think, in my understanding, the Mayan calendar has 13 full moons, and it adheres to the same process as true sidereal astrology. And also the Chinese calendar, as I said before, the lunar calendar has 13 full moons, 360 days, with 1 day of rest. That's the first day of April, the resurrection, so to speak, energetically, the day of rest. So I wonder if the mainstream astrology is a part of the hack. So what they're giving us is the inversion of the truth of infinity. So mainstream astrology only refers to the machinations within the hack. It has a degree of truth within it, but it's still information that gives us an idea of what's happening within the hack, the simulation, the video game, whatever you want to call it. But not infinity, but within the actual machinations of the system being created around us in this virtual reality, 3D frequency band. Whereas true sidereal astrology, when it also connects to a fucus and looks at the sky above us in real time and adheres to that, is that still, these are my questions, is that still in the hack? Is that still reading the machinations of the hack on a deeper level in mainstream astrology, because you're seeing the sky as it really is when you're looking at it in the firmament of the hack itself? So you're reading the machinations of the hack in real time, and you're also affirming the fact that you've got 13 full moons in a lunar year, a calendar year. So therefore 13 months. Or is true sidereal astrology also in a place where it's in the hack and it's just reading, like I said before in regards to mainstream astrology, is it just reading the machinations of the hack of this simulation that we're existing in or perceiving our existence in, and not in infinity? Because my question is, in infinity, in the organs of these beings in the mystery schools, if we are truly in that experience where we are having an experience within the organism within an organism that's fully conscious of itself, a gigantic being, what we can call prime creator, and we're actually a part of that being experiencing itself subjectively, which is incredible, can you conceive of, that we are no more than perhaps a blood vessel or a cell within a gigantic being, having an experience of awareness of oneself within a living being, creature. It's just completely bananas to me, but in the same moment, I can perceive it to be a reality. So yeah, my questions around that, my questions around the machinations of mainstream astrology, true sidereal astrology, the lunar months, the 13 lunar months, the calendar year, 360 days, 1 day of rest, April being the first month of the year, according to true sidereal astrology, or according to the truth in regards to how the movement of the moon's movements, and of course our planet's movements through the solar system in procession inside this video game. I mean, I'm so full of questions and no answers. Just wondering, are we reading the machinations of the hack within true sidereal astrology and mainstream astrology to an extent? And that what we are experiencing within this is not infinity, but actually the machinations of a computer system, of a computer program playing itself out, controlled by lower fourth dimensional entities, but it's still a bubble within a larger organism. And at some point, will that bubble be popped, and will we as a consciousness, a collective consciousness, experiencing infinity again within our own lifetimes, within our own bodies? And for me, it's very simple to do that. All I have to do is be centered here, in my heart space, in my heart vortex, center my awareness in here, the best I possibly can to achieve that perception of existence. Whew. Thanks for watching. I truly appreciate it. Matewa. I'll see you again soon, man.